Oh, Ewan, have I ever told you back in my day about the time we used to be able to call shows what you wanted, and we called this show? Do you remember?
I don't know, Jules.
No, of course not. It's been a long, long time since then. Hello, everyone. It is your favourite father and son Joe, the father and son that just love to have fun. It's Jules and Ewan. How are you feeling, mate?
Partially dead slightly. I'm recovering.
Are you dehydrated?
I've dehydrated.
Are you nearly dying?
Yeah, nearly dying. I'm on my way there. You know, it's very sad. You can feel the Christian Bale in my voice right now. All the gruff, none of the intimidation. That's my motto. Yeah. 2
words of advice for you. Honey is always good for the things. And also, you get me ill, I will end you.
Oh, no.
I will make your death painful. I don't like being sick. Anyway, welcome to the show formerly called Hit That Non-Jingle. Welcome back to Generic Comic Roundup Show T-3999, formerly known as what we've done is we've been informed by the bosses that we can only do 3 comic strands each week now, which isn't actually a bad thing.
It's probably a good thing. It means that more of you are going to want to watch it when you see this thing in your dash and look, oh wow, it's not just 20 minutes? I went to say 20 minutes of idiots blathering on about comics, but then my illness meant 20 minutes.
No, instead of putting us down, you put yourself down.
Yeah,
that's good, that's nice.
Yeah.
But we've got 3 lines to go through today. We have Batman, Heavy Metal, as per usual, because I bloody love this series, The Merciless. We've got Punisher, this one here, of Frank Castle's Vietnam War flashbackery. And then we've got this one, which I've never come across before, BPRD.
If you like your Hellboy, you
Yeah, boy! It's Hellboy.
That's how he announces himself every comes on the panel.
I love that.
And everyone's just there waiting for him, just like.
That's probably how he died.
Yeah.
He was doing it too long, so we just walked up and just shot him in the heart. Brilliant. Yeah, so we've got 3 comic lines. We're going to rattle through them in our usual fashion, like a car smashing into a skip, and we'll give you our thoughts on them. Yeah. So let's start off with BPRD.
Yeah.
In the place to be.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me what did you see?
So yeah, this is set I'm gonna have to come clean now. I didn't have a clue what was going on here.
Okay.
I'm a massive fan of Hellboy, and I've read all of the Hellboy graphic novels, going from the first volume all the way up to when he went to hell after he died.
So he was just called Boy then?
Yeah, just called Boy. But I've not actually read any of the BPRD stuff until the other month where I picked up the first collection. So I only have the first collection of stories. Okay. When you open up this, I didn't realise that certain characters who are quite significant in the Hellboy lore have kicked the bucket.
I mean, this thing I knew of 2 of the people, the 2 people that they announced were dead. I was like, oh, bloody hell. Well, now my only bit of familiarity is just out the window.
Yeah, exactly. But this does focus on Abe Sapien, who we'll all remember as Doug Jones from the Guillermo del Toro films, Fish Boy, and Liz Sherman as well, who is now in a relationship with a new character that I think has been introduced in this series. I've forgotten his name, but he's bonded.
It's like Hammer.
Yeah, but he's bonded with an ancient chief, and he's got a magical sword.
Yeah,
and he chops things up, and it's really cool. And there's a really cute comic strip at the end where they actually go into the intro, and it's really cool.
That helped me so much because I was reading about it and I was like, why is this guy important?
It's called, Gaul Denar is the ancient being, but he's called Agent Howards. Okay, and now him and Liz are a thing. But yeah, England's gone. I don't want to talk about the potential character deaths, just in case there are people who are looking to get into Hellboy, because they're some doozies, man.
Second page in, boff.
But not even that. It tells you in the book. Wow, maybe this will give me some insight into.
I mean, this is the thing, I really enjoyed reading this. I didn't necessarily have an idea of what was going on, but I like the direction of this main character that they're bringing in, because he's a mute, he doesn't really have these things, but the fact that he's bonded, he's got a spirit of war, no one can seemingly stop him. I do hope that he's a worthy successor to take on the mantle of what Hellboy is, which is basically the guy who jumps in first and asks questions later.
And that's a really good point, is that how it's all set in a linear narrative. So you have Hellboy when he comes in during World War II, all the way up to the early 2000s, to the late 2000s, where he gets killed and gets sent to hell. And what they've been doing, which is the very clever thing that Dark Horse have been doing, is that they've been setting different stories in different time periods. So at the moment there's a book called Hellboy and the BPRD, which is set in the 50s.
Yeah, it's basically him in this like origin story.
So this is set right in the modern day. So this is going way into the future. Well, not way into the future. This is going in immediately after like the events of Hellboy getting killed, and it's very interesting. And I thought what was most interesting about this is that me being disoriented as a reader, I could relate to Abe Sapien in this because he's been away for a while and he's come back, and then Liz is just telling him everything. Oh yeah, England's gone. Your boy Johan, he's gone. And I was just there like.
I loved it when he basically was just like, I can't take all this in. I need a moment. It's like, you're not the only one, bud.
So it's so good as well. And Mike Mignola, I love him. He knows how to do horror.
Well, Mignola reminds me quite a lot of Miller because the fact that he doesn't really treat his readers like namby-pamby, sort of like, I'm going to explain everything to you. It's just kind of like, here's the story, catch up or don't.
Yes.
And if you need to sort of get sort of extra bits on it, go to the internet, ask somebody about it. Like, I'm not going to explain it. You keep up stupid, you work harder, you submit your things, you do your taxes, you go to church, you do all these things, you die.
Yeah.
Have kids.
I think you bang on there. But yeah, like I really like this comic. I think if you're new to Hellboy, I'd probably stay away and read all the other stuff first, because you'll have your heart ripped out, and I'm very torn up about the deaths I found out in this. I didn't even read the comic when they died.
You're ill already, so this is like just adding to the sickness.
I
mean, what would you give this this bad boy out of 5 stars?
Ooh, I'd give it
five panels.
Give it panels. We have like a panel rate. Okay, I'll give it 3.5 panels. I think
I'd give it three panels, but only because of the fact that I'm not fully invested into that. I love the art style, though. I thought that it was beautifully drawn, but it's something that I've got so many other lines that I'm really invested in at the moment. This is probably the least immediate for me. But that's not to say it's a bad thing at all. Just saying it's not my personal one.
And there's also a few other Hellboy titles that we'll be checking out soon. So
that will probably kickstart my love.
Yeah, Mignola's doing a Rasputin series, which is, I think people in the comments said that you look like Rasputin, which I guess is
cannot confirm.
I know,
nor deny.
Oh right. Does that make me Hellboy then?
I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Right, well.
Not going to say
interesting.
no.
But then we got Rasputin, and then he's doing a Christmas special with Adam Hughes. It's going to be about Krampus. You know, the evil, dark German Santa Claus.
Yeah, the one that kills kids.
Yeah, that one. So that'll be interesting as well.
Nice.
So,
cool. Right, so, God, we are father and son. That was too uncanny there. Right, let's move on to, now this is going to surprise people because they know my love for this.
Yeah.
My comic of the week.
Yep.
My comic of the week.
Awesome.
This was so good. The most violent comic I've seen in a while.
And it's got that Max Banner on it again, which I just said Max Banner. Isn't he the Simpsons Homer Max? Oh, it's Max Power.
Max Power. Max Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful comic. And again, like every bit of praise that we lavished on this in the first thing, it's back and even more so. The stylistic choices of having very weird minimalism. Like, again, it's like throwing in the white panels.
Steve Buscemi at the bottom as well. I'm sorry, I don't know if you noticed that as well. That guy looks just like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, he does a lot. But it's just like, it's like the use of colour and then the absence of it creates these really stark images. And it's just, it goes back to that whole thing of like, these have moved on so much since the comic-y, pulpy stuff of yore. Now these are just sort of like mobile art galleries. It is a beautiful looking book and quite disturbingly graphic in the presentation of combat and violence in this as well.
And it totally follows on from the last issue and kind of going in the idea of like where was Frank Castle made, so to speak. And there's a really interesting exchange that the writer has here, who I didn't realise he was the guy who wrote the book that inspired the first Punisher Vietnam story, Born, the story Valley Forge. And he's all there trying to figure out the moment that Frank Castle turned, so to speak. And there's a really interesting panel where one of his fellow veterans basically says, I don't know who he first killed. He probably didn't. He only saw like a shape in his sights or whatever.
But it was like 3 direct hits on the guy, so you've got to question yourself. Like, did he actually?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
because that was like 3 headshots effectively, or like a body and 2 headshots, and it's like, did he actually
No.
Could he see?
Yeah.
Could he see, or was he that accurate and that deadly
And
at that point already?
And I think one of the most interesting things for me reading this book is that is the way Ennis and Parlov they capture war really, really well. And like you read this and you get a sense of the chaos of what's going on. You get a sense of the sheer brutality and. Compared to most comics that I read, they're pretty violent. They're pretty dark. Nothing compares to what you see in this book, and it's awful.
I mean, this is a good question. If you were a comic book artist and you were just given the draft of, here, Frank kills somebody.
Yes.
Now you've got unlimited reign to choose something. I probably wouldn't go down the route that these guys done, because I'd be like, well, I guess he shoots somebody. Again, well, I'm not a comic book artist for many reasons, but. In this one, it was like a chop to the throat.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, that is such a painful thing to
bayonet to the head.
Yeah,
and
bayonet to
stuff.
that. Like, it was like lifting him off the ground and nearly poking through his shirt. It's just like.
It's the way he influences his fellow soldiers as well. Like, he's the guy who basically says, fix bayonets. It's really blood-curdling stuff, and obviously the issue ends with the platoon kind of on their own, not really know where they're going and stuff. And
Well, the interesting thing that I picked up on, and I don't know if this was answered in the first episode, has anyone actually referred to him by his full name yet?
Frank Castle.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain they haven't.
Well, it just
Lieutenant Castle.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So that was why there was a pun at the end, because they go, right, there's going to be a siege coming, and then somebody says, like in a castle, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be like a joke or if it was just be like that was the establishing moment.
Yeah,
but
that would be quite clever.
Yeah.
But again, it's the way it's been scripted, I should say. It's beautiful. Like there's a bit where the munitions depot at their old fire base gets like destroyed, and they're just basically sat there just looking at this explosion like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what are we going to do now? And obviously you got then the premise of them being on the run with the sniper who's out to get revenge going to be on their tail soon.
I'm hoping that this is going to turn into kind of like a Predator style thing, where basically it's like them trying to literally get to the chopper and her hunting them down one by one. That'd be lush.
You've seen Full Metal Jacket?
Yes.
You know the bit where they try and get across the bridge and there's the one sniper on the
one
tower?
sniper that takes out nearly half of the platoon. It's unreal.
Yeah.
It plays out exactly like the Vietnam War films of yore, and I absolutely bloody love this. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
It's one of the smartest comics that I've read, and again providing me more and more incentive to go back and read the rest of Ennis's Punisher stuff, because I originally was just I'm not a big Punisher fan, but if all this other stuff is as intelligent and as thought-provoking as this is, then I'm going to have to, because the way he has a sense for history, it's so good. It oozes the 60s on that page. I really, really love it.
All I'll say to you, mate, is if you are going to get back into the Punisher, try to avoid the 90s, because the Punisher went black.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And also, he got turned into Gabriel.
Oh, did you?
And shot lasers.
Well, not as bad as the stuff that happened in the late 2000s where he became a zombie. Frankencastle. You don't know about it? When he got chopped to bits by Wolverine's emo son and then came back as a zombie called Frankencastle.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But it would be remiss of me to say that that's stupid when I'm about to talk about a giant bloody Batman wearing a suit of armour.
That's good stupid.
This is Dark Metal the Merciless, another tie into the Dark Metal saga, and I actually have to say, out of all of the ones we've read so far, this one is the weakest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is a shame. It basically details a Batman that has picked up Ares's helm, the helm belonging to Ares, and it corrupts him. It tells him that the war is only going to continue on fighting, so the only way he can lead this world is basically as a god. Now, it's the weakest Batman for so many reasons, because of the fact that it shows him having a lot of emotional discourse within himself. He's constantly going on about how he loved Diana in this version, and she died fighting Ares. He took the helm, and then he was like, I'm going to carry on fighting for her. And it was too emotional, and he kept on scratching into this stone a picture of her face. And I was just constantly like, the other ones lost people, but they went batshit and they killed people, batshit, pun intended. They killed loads of those people. And this one, it's just kind of like, oh, I did it, and I still feel pretty bad, and I know I should stop, but I won't.
I think that's a really interesting point. With a lot of the other tie-ins that you've read, a lot of the emotion is conveyed off-panel, where it's talking about, you kind of get a sense for how just low these Batmen have had to sink to get to this point. I guess the whole Wonder Woman romance thing will be a good thing for Justice League fans, because they were a thing in the cartoon show. But
I mean, the only good moment that they had in it was basically as he's joined up with the rest of the evil what are they called again? The Dark Knights.
Yes.
And he's gone through the portal, and they've just killed the Justice League, and he walks past Superman, and Wonder Woman is right next to him, and the panel shows him standing there, and he just goes, I didn't look at her.
Yeah.
I didn't look at you, I just kept my eyes on him. And then he leaves, and then at the end he goes, you said that I could never take off this helmet. And he takes off the helmet, and it's like all scarred face, and he's a white-haired, very old Bruce. And he just goes, yeah, well, I guess there's more killing to be done. And it's like, I don't know, the other ones felt a bit more fleshed out than that. This one was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just killing some bored.
Yeah.
I couldn't take off the helmet. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Still want to kill people, though.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I guess there's an argument that could be made where it's like, oh, he's now, because he's the god of war, it's kind of a sense that he's become so desensitized to the thing, but at the same time, I think it doesn't have the emotional value that the other issues had, maybe. The
only thing that I hope for is that maybe he's the linchpin to undercutting the Dark Knight's rise, because he seems to be the most kind of conflicted about it. I would like to see it if they basically had him turning on it. Maybe the helmet that he's wearing, which obviously fuels this whole desire for war, just going, well, if we kill them, then we'll stop all the war, and I want to keep fighting, so maybe I should just fight my mates and take over their things.
And that would make sense as well, because we've already seen how the Titans have affected the main series, like in the Green Arrow one, where they find out that he has the nth metal that can destroy them. So yeah, that'd be really cool. I enjoyed, and Amanda Waller's put down of bones and the...
Yeah, just get out of your bag of bones.
It's like, you're called Bones, get your bony ass down. It's like... inventive.
Yeah, I know, right? She had all the time in the world to think of, but she couldn't have said anything else.
Get away, you bone person.
Terrible. But those have been our 3 comics of the week. I want to give that a 5.
Yeah, 5. Definitely.
I'm going to give this one a 3.
Yeah.
That's been our 3 comics that you must read this week, also known as Generic Comic Review Roundup Show T1-59962 :3.
Colon 3.
Yeah, colon 3. As always, I've been Jules. This has been my son, Ewan. Wish him well. He needs to get better. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0, and my son at Abuse Depository over at Twitter.
Don't send abuse.
Don't send abuse. Only send love and well wishes for him to a speedy recovery. And also, let us know down in the comment section below whether you're going to pick up any of these lines, what you think about it, and just general feedback like, should I grow my beard even longer?
Oh, wow.
Yes,
then
I
you'd
should.
be going for the whole Rasputin thing even more.
Might as well just double down.
And what are you reading as well? Because one thing I'd quite like to see is if you've got any recommendations for us, we could totally hop them on the pull list and do what we want.
Because as it stands, we're pretty much going to be following a few very main sagas and dipping in from other bits and bobs. So
the main ones we'll be following will be Dark Knight's Metal, Batman, Punisher, Doomsday Clock, and Marvel 2-in-1, because we think that's where the Fantastic Four are coming back. But basically everything else is fair game. So if you guys have an indie title in particular you want to recommend,
we'd love to read it.
Go for it. So yeah.
Why don't you close out the show? Go on, tell them all that we've been very grateful that they've spent the time watching.
Yeah, thank you. That's very nice. Anything else you want me to add? Just
the sign off.
Just do
a nice sign off.
As always, I've been Ewan. He's been Jules, and we'll see you next time on the show formerly known as.
That's really nice, mate. That's heartfelt.
Yeah,
that's good.
Cool. Really? Like a crackling fire in the background, and just.
He's gonna be good at taking over one day when I shuffle off this mortal coil.
You telling me something I don't know?
Save it for the Dadvent calendar. Whoa! Sick, son! He's my son! That was sick too! You made it through to the end of the video and that was pretty rad!
It was amazing. We're so happy.
That's so great! Yeah. You did it! Like, share and subscribe below for more amazing content like this!
More videos on our left!
And some on our right! And you can see who made this video here!